The next 6 months will decide whether your real estate move protects you or quietly puts you at risk. Most buyers don't lose money because they chose the wrong house. They lose money because they waited. When the window was still open, they waited until the window closed. If you're upgrading, investing, or even thinking about buying, what happens in the next 6 months will matter more than the next 6 years. I'm Shikai. I help upgraders exit at optimal price points and reposition their assets to build a stronger retirement base. Today, we're talking about a 6-month window when doing nothing is still a decision. And it might be the most expensive one. I'm going to show you 3 things you must watch in the next 6 months. Because once this window closes, there's no rewriting prices, no extra leverage, and very little supply advantage left. Moving on to our first point, an equity problem, not a price problem. Let's start here. Right now, many HDB owners feel stuck. You look at the private property prices and think, wow, prices are already so high. Does it still make sense? But at the same time, your HDB has appreciated a lot over the past few years. Internally, you may feel conflicted. A part of you says, maybe I should sell and move on, while the other part says, it seems like the market is stagnating. Should I just wait? Then comes the biggest fear. If I sell high, I buy even higher. That fear is real. That's why many people wait. But here's what most don't realize. Waiting is not neutral. Waiting has consequences. Let's talk data. In 2025, HDB resale prices grew about 2.9%. That's the slowest since 2019. In Q4 alone, growth was basically flat. This isn't stabilizing, it's a slowdown. Why? One word, supply. In 2025, around 25,000 new flats were planned. From 2021 to 2025, more than 100,000 units entered the pipeline. In just the first 2 months of 2026, close to 10,000 new flats were launched, and 13,000 flats will reach MOP this year, almost double of last year. When supply grows faster than demand, prices don't need to crash. They just need to lose momentum. And when momentum disappears, leverage disappears. This isn't a price problem. It's an equity problem. When HDB prices stagnate, owners gain less equity. When equity slows, capital mobility slows. Less capital flows into private property. That's why this is a capital flow issue, not a pricing issue. Prices can stay high, but if equity stops moving, the market freezes. Moving on to our next point. Waiting for the perfect price is costing you leverage. This is for private owners. You want the perfect price, you want the perfect size, but you can't get both. You wait. Sounds logical, but smart logic in a changing market can still produce bad outcomes. But from point 1, equity is tightening. When buyers lack equity, they can't support your target price. Waiting doesn't magically create stronger buyers. It filters them out. Even if you achieve your next target price, size becomes the next issue. Today, it's not about square footage. It's about efficiency. Especially with GFA harmonization, bigger units aren't automatically easier to exit. Some owners are simply holding the wrong asset class. In family areas, 2-bedroom units are harder to move than 3 or 4 bedrooms. That's not emotional. That's demand alignment. So, stop chasing the ultimate high. Instead, ask, does my next move give me better capital appreciation or faster capital growth? If you're upgrading for space, even into a bigger HDB, that's fine. But if you have a real need, switch earlier, not later. Because waiting while equity tightens works against you. Moving on to our third point. This is a timing window, not a pricing window. This applies to everyone. HDB upgraders, private owners, first-time buyers, this 6-month window matters. Because people only understand this after they miss it. GFA harmonization pricing is already flattening out. Let's refer to this chart over here for a better idea. So over here you can see the cost that the developer have when they bid the land, right? So over here we have the green box, which is for all the launches that have happened last year. We have the purple box over here for the launches that's going to happen first half of this year, and red for those that will be happening after that. I always like to start with Sky because over here there's a good comparison with Holland Link, which puts both of them both in Holland Village itself. Sky being more central at 1285 PSF PPR, and we know this sold so well, and Holland Link at 1410 PSF PPR, further away, so much further away from the center of Holland Village itself, having more than 100 PSF gap. Next, we have Zion Grand over here, 1202 PSF PPR. This we are talking about River Valley area, 1202 versus Holland Link 1410 PSF PPR, 200 PSF PPR gap. Then lastly, the most extreme one, Newton 1820 PSF PPR. That is actually a 600 PSF PPR gap with Zion Grand. So what does this represent? The developer has already paid for this land and they won't be absorbing all these costs by themselves. They'll be passing it on to the buyers. So either they compromise in quality to keep the price palatable, or make the size smaller to keep the quantum lower, or maybe you yourself, you will be paying more because they're selling higher. This window is not about buying the cheapest unit. It's about entering before the base cost resets. Enter earlier, you position yourself ahead of the reset. Enter later, you will end up paying more or settle for something smaller. Now, before you panic and rush, don't. Timing matters, but execution matters more. On the selling side, we emphasize on marketing, positioning, and negotiating from strength. On the buying side, we apply our Canaan selection framework. Right development, right unit, right facing, right location. Because the next 6 months matter. But making the right move, the real move, matters even more. We have come to the end of our video. If you're planning to buy in 2026, don't walk into it blindly. If you want a clear, structured breakdown of your situation, scan this QR code to reach me. If you have enjoyed the content so far, please do leave a like and subscribe so as to encourage me to do more content like this. See you at the next one.